got something hot in the bob. I'ma pull up this spot on the block. Homie, let's talk.
Welcome back to Let's Talk with Fins, the #1 hip-hop review show in Canada.
What's up, you guys? I'm MLB, and today we're interviewing
Details, baby. Nanaimo's own, Nanaimo's finest. You know what I mean?
You already know what it is, man. They like to call him the Island King or Flo Rogan. Hey, man, everybody check out his music, man. He is absolutely dope. That's Details 250. Hey, man, check him out on Instagram. He's an absolute monster on the island. Very connected to the roots of the island. And, it's a pleasure to sit here with you, bro.
Thank you, man. It's a pleasure to have met you guys who came all the way across the country, to kick it and put the effort in to along the way. I know what the main mission is to go talk to Cole, and that's what's up, and he's putting us on the map out here in BC. But it's dope that you guys found some time in between to, talk to some of the other cats out here with raising the flag for the island.
Of course, man. And you guys have been on our show for a long time, so...
Right.
I had to get you guys on the show.
Absolutely, man. That's what's up. And I figured we'd show you a little bit of Nanaimo. We got the backdrop, Swaialana Lagoon, beautiful waterfront behind us.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So with that being said, then, let us know what to our fanatics who Details is and what you're all about.
Yeah, it's kind of a two-part answer. The reason for that is there was a big break between, my original start with music and what I'm currently doing. So from about 14 years old, going back to early high school days to about 25, I was making a lot of music, but this was like before the main social media era and stuff, right?
Before MySpace, before all that.
Dude, you had to get a fucking spin on the radio to be relevant, and to do that, you had to be in the top 0.5% of 100%.
That's actually one of the questions that she wants to ask, too.
Yeah, and I come from that era still, where I remember 106.9 here in Nanaimo playing one of my songs off of my Island King album that I put out. That would have been 2007, I believe, off the top of my head, maybe 08. And hearing it and being like, oh shit, I made it, I'm on the radio. And it's like, if I would have known what the future held with the social media and shit, I might not have stepped away from it. So who Details was originally a musician, and that's cool and all. I came up doing that. DJ Stilo, who, if you know me and my music.
Shout out to Stilo.
Yeah, you already know. And Clicks by Klaus, who was in the building last night. He'll be here shortly. Those guys I came up with, and Los had the building we could go to, the basement as we called it, and it was a full studio. I'm like 13 years old. They were like 17, 18. I always hang with the older crowd. So, I was always very descriptive, and I was storytelling in my music and doing shit like that. And somebody goes, hey, you should be Details, like D/TALES, like tales and stories. And I was like, yeah, but it doesn't flow nice, doesn't write nice. I was always like eloquent with the pen, both writing and artwork wise.
Right.
I liked how Details flowed, and I've always been, I don't like to use the term fair-weatheringly of obsessive-compulsive disorder, because I've never been diagnosed with it, but I know the way my brain works, that I need intricacies and things and patterns to line up. Things as simple as brick design that we see in front of us, aesthetically pleasing, where some people don't notice it. I always was that person, so Details was a fitting name, so I ran with it and made music. And at 25, I seen a bit of a dead end with it, and I wanted to change what I was doing. To be honest, I was in the streets. I was a dope boy from like 16 till 25. I was also a part-time drug addict when it was convenient. And that was what my music reflected. And I was tired of putting that bullshit out there. And I'm like, I'm tired of hearing it on wax. I spoke a few negative things into reality just by mentioning them, and I just went, ugh.
Put a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah, so I stepped off of it for a while, and I was in broadcasting school in Vancouver. I went to a broadcast journalism school over there. Shouts out Columbia Academy. Tim Wahlberg, the podcast guru. So I did that, and I got into broadcast journalism. Right out of there, I got a job working with Battlefield Fight League, calling MMA fights, and I hung the mic up in the studio and picked the mic up cage side, right? I made the I did a little slip and rip move. So I had to step to where my talent was. The guy came in and he goes, anybody in here know anything about MMA? My teacher's like, this fucking guy right here, can you please give him a job? Because I was like, UFC had just been announced for Vancouver, MMA was legalized, because for years it was illegal in Vancouver, because they had a couple fucking geniuses running the athletic commission. They got new blood in there, guys and females too, knew what's going on. Mike and Danica, two of my dear friends from the BCAC, are two of the people that were instrumental in bringing MMA back, and it allowed me to find a whole new career path.
Oh, for sure.
Fucking man, I started managing fighters. I was looking at guys.
Start putting your music in the walkouts, man.
You know what? I wasn't writing music, but I was still doing it in a way where, like, everything I was doing was like there was a poeticness to it. I was doing doing what we're doing right now, I was shooting countdown videos for all my fighters. We were going to Montreal and staying at the Faraz Zahabi's dorm. Shout out to Rob and everybody in Montreal as well for that. We went down to Deerfield, Florida, stayed with Henry Hooft at the Black Zillions gym, and guys like Glenn Robinson, rest in peace, who did so much for a lot of athletes when we were coming up. I went and covered the UFC. I got Dana's phone number in my phone. I got George St. Pierre. I got all these dudes, Daniel Cormier, who I made interactions and relationships with. And I was so far from music, bro, I would have never thought I was ever going to come back to it.
Wow.
Fast forward a few years later, owned a restaurant, worked in the oil patch.
You own a restaurant
had
right
a
now?
I do not. I run a personal chef service, but one of my old locations, you could damn near throw a rock and land it in the front door, was just over here, and I formerly had two. So I lived a bunch of life. Moved to Alberta, cleaned up my act because I was still using some syrups and not that bullshit lean that some of you kids fuck with. I was drinking real methadone, the shit that will actually take your soul and your life, not to mention a serious
It kind of
Oxycontin
saved my
habit.
brother's life, not to lie, bro.
If you don't abuse it,
Yeah,
yes,
you
it's
took
your
it
way
right.
out, or it's your way to spiral further out because it feels innocent to drink your drugs instead of smoking, shooting, or injecting them. So I looked at it like, I got to get out of here for a bit, went to Alberta, and long story, not a lot shorter, but a little bit, I found spare time again and started falling in love with the bars, and I was listening to music again because I got so busy listening to customers, clients, employees, bullshit,
for sure.
and social media that I had no time for music.
Yep.
So now Details Reinvented, Reborn is the best version of myself.
Amazing.
Not just musically, but also with my day-to-day business I run with the
whole
personal
core,
chef
the whole
service.
core of
Started the
Details.
clothing brand. What you saw last night with the team cohesiveness that we've got at Lyrics, I feel like I'm a big part of that. And what Details is now, is rebirthed, reborn, ready, and reloaded, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah,
Perfect.
So when you had that chance, that 10-year gap where you were just focusing on yourself, and, take us through that process, and what was your motivation day to day to sort of get to the end result of sort of where you're landing today? to get to where you wanna get?
So when I was about 19 or 20, I want to say, I had something happen that was a robbery-related scenario in my life, and obviously I escaped with my life, which is cool. I escaped without about 125 grand worth of jewelry where it made its way into someone else's possession. And I remember my mother being terrified and scared about it because she found out about it before I could even tell her about it.
Yeah.
And I was rolling around, off and on with a vest, always was packing. None of that shit helped me that day. And I remember telling her, listen, I'm just trying to work something out right now. If by 25 I haven't figured it out, I'll go back to school. And like when I was in high school, I was like a 3.7, 3.75 grade point average. For you 2.2s out there, that means I was fucking smart. So I could have
For you
gone
2.2s out there.
you see average ass
Smart
motherfuckers. So I could have gone and done some things academically after high school if I wanted to, and unfortunately the untimely death of my father when I was 16, which was ruled a suicide. I say that because I just say that. And everything, the script kind of flipped. I had a younger sister. Suddenly being accepted to BCIT for a broadcast program at that point was no longer a priority for me, though. I got accepted to it and I fucking blew it off, and instead I became a dope boy and started running the street and doing all that shit. My math skills, my entrepreneurial skills, they work great for me in that lane.
Sure.
I can't say my mother was probably too proud of me for doing it. And so, making that deal with her, to say at 25, if I haven't made it in my lane of choice, I'll take yours. You know what I mean? I always wanted to do broadcasting for the 2010 Olympics, and that's why I enrolled after high school, and I missed my window because of that shit. So instead I was in school during the Olympics. I left at 25. I'd been hit by a car. That was kind of what introduced the opiate addiction. I was fucking with it a bit in the street, but I got hit and they were like, here, take these, they'll help you out.
Never
really
did.
fucking help you out. But no one knew about the addiction shit. That was in 2008, right? So like over a fucking decade ago. And before I knew it, it took a decade of my life. It cost me $1 million in costs and who knows how many millions in my own potential. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And so at 25, I moved away to Van, got out of the game, got into there, and after that I was a broke student kind of, so I was like, well fuck, I gotta go make some money. So I went out to Alberta and my boy was a welder and I started helping him. Hey, don't ever go help a welder in Alberta in the oil patch.
No.
That's of everything you hear me say
You are
today.
a roughneck at that
Yeah,
point,
so
man.
I worked my way through that for a couple of years, came back here, and had a couple bucks in my pocket, and I decided to open a personal chef service. I felt like I needed to prove to myself that I could run a straight business, if that makes any sense.
Trying to be a celebrity chef, you're saying?
So yeah, and you know what? I even won like a local cooking contest and
dope.
shit, like right out of the gate. And I was like, oh Christ, now I gotta open this fucking place because everybody sees I can cook. So did that and ran it for a couple of years, lived off of it. It wasn't until I got out of that, guys, that I really did the self-care part. I was just running in a different lane, and I hadn't identified that, what I was supposed to be doing was music and creative yet. I was still sitting at a point where I just thought, dude, I had so many fucking irons in the fire, and the old saying goes, try and chase 2 rabbits, you'll catch neither. I was trying to chase like 17 rabbits, and I wasn't catching any of them.
Right.
So moving out to Alberta after I closed the restaurants was when the moment of clarity hit. I'm coming home after work and only having to work an 8 or 10 hour day, and when that's done, you're done. Instead of, I'd go to work over here at Dish on a Monday morning because we'd be closed on Sundays. Monday morning, I'd usually go home Tuesday afternoon or evening in the same clothes, right?
Oh, wow.
So like a 30-hour shift type shit, right?
Yep.
No person should be doing that, and no one will keep a healthy mind state, mental health, or physical health doing it.
Yeah.
When I got to Alberta, though, and I got to set up the old podcast studio, I started fucking around, and I came home and I had 7 joints recorded roughly, and I walk into the Harewood 7-Eleven, which if you know, that's good around here. Who do I walk in and see but DJ Stilo making an Interact card purchase? And I hadn't seen him in probably, there's casualties out here. I hadn't seen him in probably 4 years. I walked up and just laid a bear hug on him, right? Didn't even fucking say anything. And he kind of gave me this look, like looking down, like, who the fuck is hugging me in the hood like this? And he's like, yo, D, what's up, man? So we went right to his place, and he showed me his brand new studio that's just mind-blowing here in Nanaimo, and it's been on ever since.
And that's
he's like,
Stilo?
Yeah.
So that's where you go to record your music.
That's where I go to record. I go to Eddie's too, but
he's doing your productions and everything?
he does all my mixing, mastering, engineering. He's the guy for that. He's got 20 years of his ear being on the beat, you know what I mean? And he does instrument manipulation, he produces, he's the guy. So
hey man, anybody needs those beats, anybody needs those engineering and mixing
DJ
mastering
Stilo,
service,
man.
DJ Stilo, man, hit him up.
And so we've been back at it ever since and just said, fuck it. He said, you can still do this better than anybody else I know, so let's get back at it.
So you've been going hard for 2 solid years now, working on your craft, speaking your messages. What is the most important thing that you want to relay, because our craft is many things, to your audience to impact them?
Yeah, reality trumps make-believe. In the social media era, perception is reality for way too many people. And it's resulted, unfortunately, in a bunch of whack-ass music across the board being celebrated. And I don't mean whack like, oh, I don't like this. Unpolished shit, stuff that's bedroom mixed, you know what I mean? Like, cool, and I respect all artists, but stuff like that can't be getting 1 million views and shit, you know? Like, it fucks the market up. So what I try to preach in my music, and ESQ said the same shit to you last night, is there's no fictional bars, there's no bullshit in it. You listen to my music, whether it touches on opiate addiction and abuse or social issues, my time doing different work. I spit a lot of culinary bars, then I just talk shit about rapping because I know I can out-rap rappers. So it's like everything I come with is something that I'll stand behind, and some of the street shit I talk about is retrospective, and it's absolutely accurate. I might not still be toting and rolling around with it, but don't act like I don't have it on the resume, and I know how to speak about it in a way that hopefully I deflect future people and the youth from getting into that fucking lifestyle and wasting their time and money, success and potential,
Amazing.
So speaking with that then, we touched earlier that you collaborated with a clothing line.
Yeah, well, I basically created what I'm doing, collaborated the clothing line along with the musical project, and Island Royalty, as you can see clearly draped, is what I came up with. Actually I didn't come up with it. We did a song called King Shit, which I'll show you guys the mastered version.
And
later.
I'm not gonna lie, we've been approached by like 2 or 3 people already with a hat that this guy's hat on. I was actually like, are you serious
deep
right
in
now?
the streets in Nanaimo, man.
Hey man, it's out here.
So Island Royalty Apparel on Instagram and on Facebook. The idea behind it is we did a song called King Shit, Flesh and Fur, ESQ, Details, iWest, produced by C Lance, mixed by Stilo.
Damn.
That's the first single off of what is now
Shout out
the
to
Island.
C Lance, man.
Yeah, totally. And I'll tell you guys about another banger I got with C Lance coming up too. It's a little sports related joint that we'll get into. But so Island Royalty came about because I kick a line on it where I talk about you can't hold me, my homies is the hardest, Island Royalty, I'm only getting started, or something to that effect. And I came out of the booth and ESQ's like, yo, we got to do a project called Island Royalty.
Nice.
And I'm like, all right, let's do it. So we put together beats and shit, and we got 22 bangers done. I got like 5 of them mastered from Los right now.
Wow.
We're gonna put out 2 projects of it, but I thought, why not have some flags to drape while we're out here making this music, right?
Yeah.
So shouts out to Katrina at E-Zone Embroidery, and shouts out to YD, YD from the North, Dre Gauthier, aka YD Designs. Between YD's designing and Katrina's work at E-Zone, I've been able to put together hats, tees, hoodies, sweats, tanks, like all kinds of shit.
Grind it, man. That's guerrilla marketing right there.
Yeah, while I do run another business, I'm trying to transition my life from chopping garlic to chopping clothing clients. You know what I mean? So we're trying to make a little change and keep it easier on the joints. So Island Royalty apparel is out full blast at this point. We got a little photo shoot scheduled coming up. It's available for me directly for now, but you can look for it possibly in some e-commerce sites as of soon. And,
possibly at the Jump Off Co.
Possibly at
8
the Jump Off
locations
Co.
across Canada, including Edmonton. Man.
Shout out to our sponsor, the Jump Off Co. Go follow them on Instagram right now.
I just heard everybody get on their phone and go follow the Jump Off Co. I just heard them do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking to do that and get it out in the stores. You don't have to love or care about my music. If you're from the island, Island Royalty is for you. This is a beautiful place we live in. I think I've convinced both of y'all that in the last 2 days now.
Stunning place.
And so I wanted to get something that's relevant and it can be worn and be proud and brand commitment. I tattooed the shit on my neck the other day, so let's run with it.
Wow, beautiful.
Nice.
Love it. So that's just the beginning, I guess, of a couple-year plan for you. What do you got in the works coming up?
Yeah, so at the beginning of all this, I did like a 5-year plan. I was 34, and although I know that age is only a number, if by 40 years old something musically hasn't popped, then I'm not gonna push it. It can be a young man's game. It doesn't have to be. You know, MMA is similar.
Doesn't have to be.
Yeah, MMA is similar, but then you still got guys like Yoel Romero, who's like 42 years old and is the most in-shape dude in the whole UFC. So there's always outliers and stuff. Then you look at musically, West Side Gun, that whole crew, Griselda just made it, and they made it pop. They're like 37 years old.
Griselda holds it down.
You
Man.
know,
I'm telling you, they showed the world that being an underground rapper with old school underground style bars and like boom bap beats is still a thing.
That's right, and
it is not dead.
Here's the other thing too: is as much as and I'm gonna hurt some feelings by saying this, but I don't really care. If you disagree with me, then fucking prove it or go get a job and prove me wrong. A lot of people these days in the younger demographic, especially, aren't as eager to work. So I am trying to I'm trying to angle my music and my craft to people who own a fucking wallet or a purse and have the ability to break $50 off for a hoodie, $20 for a show, something to support me and my craft, because
100%.
I'm really not after trying to put, I got 60,000 listens on Spotify, but it doesn't financially do anything for me. So if I'm making clothing and music that responds to somebody my age and demographic,
you really have to hit the millions, you know, to make money off the streaming, you know?
Whereas with clothing, if you do it properly, you know, much like a lot of self-run businesses, you can earn a well enough income off of your side hustles and put a few of them together.
Yeah,
and
we
live
had
the
some
kind of
merch
life
that
you
we
want.
had too for our Wentworth District clothing line. Our city used to be called Wentworth District.
Okay.
And we made a Wentworth District clothing line that blew up in our city, and we made good money off that, man.
Yeah.
Merch is where it's at.
You know, like I say, you got to meet the team last night.
Yeah,
most of us, right?
Yeah.
The A team, I guess, as we've dubbed it, EHA. You know, Canadians say A, it's the A team.
Amazing.
Island Royalty projects are on the way. You can check it out. Details 250 on Instagram and at Harrison.MrESQ on IG. Both of us are the ones kind of thoroughbred in this project alone.
You already know what it is. Shout out to Details for coming through for the interview today. You already know, man, he's a super talented dude. Go follow him on IG right now. Hit the subscribe button and the bell notifications below here so you get all the updates on all our interviews, our street reviews, our live reviews. Man, let's just review everything, man. Thank you for coming out, man.
That's what it is, man.
Pleasure to meet you, bro.
It's been a pleasure to have you guys out on the island. Thank you. And that's what's up. Thank you all out there, too. It's your boy Details, man.
Let's go.